Hi, I'm Heather Lefebvre, a clinical research coordinator at the Ohio State University James Cancer Hospital, Stephanie Spielman Comprehensive Breast Center.
I'm Susan Ottman. I'm a clinical research manager for the Stephanie Spielman Comprehensive Breast Center.
So we decided to put together a clinical trials education offering for the breast center because we found that there were a lot of misconceptions of our staff. This was really targeting our staff because we want to help them better understand the clinical trials process so they in turn can help our patients better understand the clinical trials process. So this poster just kind of gives you a blueprint so you could take this back and tailor it to your needs and educate staff at any doctor's office, hospital, cancer center about clinical trials and their importance. So what really catches your eye here is the blurb about fewer than 5% of cancer patients participate in clinical trials. I just find that startling. So we took that and ran with it to see how can we impact that. And another thing we don't really deal with a lot where we are because clinical trials are so important is that only 85% of oncology patients said that they were unaware or didn't even know that clinical trials are a treatment option. So we really use those two key ideas to help us shape this offering. So Susan, you want to talk about the first couple of courses?
Yes. What we wanted to do is we knew this needed to be interactive to keep the patients involved and to know, and also for us to be able to evaluate their understanding of what we were giving them. And so on the first one, we wanted to give them what are the key elements of a clinical trial, and how we presented it to them is we went over the key elements, and then towards the end we did what we call a scavenger hunt. We gave them questions like, gave them actually some excerpts from a protocol and had a question, okay, what type of patient would be eligible for this trial? If they had a blood level of 0.5, would that make them eligible? And they would actually look at that protocol and as a group answer the question. And the same thing for looking for where would you find the dose modifications. I had them look through the protocol to find its specific keywords, and as a group they were able to look through that protocol and tell me where they could look in that protocol to figure out the dose modifications. And the second one, we wanted to make sure that they understood how we protect our patients as they're participating in a clinical trial. And we used the media as a tool for that. We used YouTube, the Tuskegee Project, along with the Nunberg. And that actually opened up a lot of dialogue, and it had a lot of questions going on because everybody heard about the Tuskegee.
We got all of our foundation for clinical trial participation and why they're important. We actually created our own phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials. Taste buditis was our disease that we were treating, and everybody in the audience, whether they wanted to or not, had to participate in at least one of the phases of clinical trials. So we kind of explained the basics, and we used M&Ms as the investigational agent for our simulation and interaction. And then after each simulation of the phase 1 trial, phase 2 trial, phase 3 trial, we actually gave a real example of what a clinical trial is, and I tried to pick some groundbreaking clinical trials that really the audience probably would have heard of, no matter if they worked at the front desk or their chemotherapy infusion nurse. So we use the participation to help them understand from a patient's perspective what goes on and how they move stepwise to development all the way through to market. And then the fourth offering was really an evaluation of how much everyone learned by participating in these offerings. And what was really exciting about that is we used audience response. We used the turning point system, so we had real-time results. It was anonymous, so everyone could really answer how they were truly feeling. We put up some of the hot button topics or some of the misconceptions and said, do you agree, strongly disagree? And then the great thing about the audience response is the next slide we have our results. And we really use that to drive the dialogue of that particular offering. So if everybody agreed, we kind of moved on, but if there were some discrepancies, we had some conversations of, why do you think that? You know, what can we do to help you understand that? And really, what we wanted out of that was to help anybody from every level of contact with a patient be comfortable talking about a clinical trial. I mean, they didn't have to know the details, but to say, yeah, you should participate in a clinical trial, it's a great offering. And what we found when we kind of stepped back and looked from the beginning when we started this to the end, that our clinical trial participation actually did increase by 73% at the end of our offering.
And one of the other objectives that we did address too is we wanted to improve their understanding of what clinical trials was, and through the surveys was they did indicate that through these offerings they did have a better understanding and felt more comfortable talking to their patients about clinical trials.